What's up, pod pals? It's your buddy Adam, and you are listening to Podcasting Business School, the show where I teach podcasters how to love their podcast like a hobby and build it like a business. This is a very special podcast audit episode with my pod pal Stephanie from the Hello Hot Flash podcast. Love the brand, love the name.
Thank you.
Stephanie, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Adam. Thank you for having me.
All right. So we've been connected for a little bit now. Like we chatted, you implemented, you got some momentum. You've been in my download growth club. Like we're getting in there, getting to work. Let's talk a little bit about what you've done so far, because you're making progress already. So we chatted, we did a podcast profit potential discovery call a little bit ago. I gave you some ideas. You immediately started taking action. Can you talk about that just a little bit before we kind of set a next level goal?
Yeah. So I did. I was on it. After our first call, you gave me something so simple. I'm like, oh my goodness, why didn't I think about that? But the information has been amazing. So I changed the name of my podcast. So it's still Hello Hot Flash. The brand is still Hello Hot Flash, but I was able to add that tag, conversations with midlife women who ... It's very long, but I didn't understand how impactful that would be because then I had all those keywords buried. And also went on the description area and I changed the description so it was Google friendly. And then you did something, you told me to just kind of type in the questions that people would ask on Google. And immediately I'm like, oh, what in the world? This really works. He's no joke. So that has taken me, I was, for a whole year, I'm like at 40 downloads per episode, maybe 50. And since I started just talking to you before I even, joined Growth Club, I'd start getting my 100 downloads. It's within a week still, but it's still not 50 a week. It's up to 100 a week. So it's been
Yeah.
really busy.
Yeah, we doubled it up. And
Yeah.
when I got that message, when you're like, Adam, I searched,
Oh,
hot
yeah.
flash, I searched menopause on the Apple search bar. And I'm like, number one, I'm showing up first. And you're like, is this just on my phone? Is this something weird? I'm like, no, it's on my phone too. It's on everyone's phone. Like that was, isn't that
Yeah.
weird how that works? And it's just like,
Yes. It
yeah.
just, boom, it took off all of a sudden. So I was really excited about that.
All right. Well, I'm excited too. So that's kind of where we are so far. Let's look at the next 6 months. Let's set a 6-month goal. You're plugged into my world. We're working together. Like what would be very exciting growth with your brand, with your podcast, with your business? What would that look like over the next 6 months?
Yeah, so a couple of different things. In my mind, I just came up with the 750 number on my email list. I have 400 now, and I usually get about 20-25% open rate. So I'm implementing some of the other things you told me to do with email as well. But to have that number of email and to start not just having the email names, but to start to have engagement, because I know that's the only way that I'm going to grow. So my main focus is building the list, getting more people on my email list, and then starting to have people actually talk back to me when I'm sending them a question and so forth. Because it's going to help me build out 2025 if I can get people in my community talking.
I love it. I love how you're playing the long game. And I love that you're focused on building your audience, but serving them with the type of content that creates a community and creates
Mhm.
engagement. So,
Yeah, yeah.
and honestly, I mean, 750 is a great mark, but I really think you can hit 1,000. Like,
I do too.
I think your 1,000 true fans, like, I think that's very realistic. All right. So, how are we getting people on your email list currently? What kind of lead magnets? Like, what's making people opt in right now?
Yeah, so I have a scorecard.
Love it.
Yeah, so I have a scorecard. They can take a quiz as well. So those are the two things right now. And I also have a 15-minute training video. So you can opt in to listen to me teach for 15 minutes. Like I think it's called the 3 mistakes women often make when they're on their menopausal journey. So you
Okay.
can opt in any of those 3 ways.
Okay. Tell me a little bit more about your scorecard. Like, what's it called and what are we scoring?
Yeah, so what is it called? I keep changing the name, so I can't remember, but I'm while we're talking, I'm gonna figure it out. But the what it's scoring is like how many times per day are you getting protein, carbs, and fats in? How many, are you working at least 10 minutes, walking at least 10 minutes per day? Are you drinking a certain amount of water each day? All of those like kind of health and wellness things that we don't think about. Are you journaling? Have you said what you're grateful for today. And then it's, as you know, this score system. So you want to hit a certain number each day. It's
Okay.
called
So
it's actually called the Hot Flash Free Scorecard.
got it. Okay. So really we're looking at improving mental and physical quality of life as you journey through menopause
Yes.
or towards menopause. So
Yes.
that okay. So yeah, I like that a lot. So let's talk about a few ways that I've been successful with getting more people in front of that scorecard.
Hmm.
Um, the most successful thing that I've done is I found an industry newsletter, and they do ads, and I advertise my scorecard in that industry newsletter almost every single week. And I'll put 40 to 70 people on my email list every week just off that one ad. And I'm paying less than $1 per new subscriber to my
Wow.
email list.
Okay.
So look at, like, I would just do a deep dive on research with, like, okay, it can be easy to find like bloggers, podcasters, and see if they have a newsletter or see if they have marketing opportunities, like a women's health blog, I wouldn't make it specifically menopause based because that's gonna be more direct competition. But see if they have a blog, a newsletter, a thing where you could pay for ad space, and especially like if it's a blog and they don't, I would reach out and go, hey, and you got to make sure that like they know you're a real person and not one of these people like spamming people with like a form letter or whatever,
Yeah.
and be like, hey, maybe even send like a little video or something like, hey, this is me,
True.
Stephanie. I'm a real person. I was just looking through. I noticed you've got a great blog. I'm interested in paying you. I've got this scorecard. I would like to pay you to advertise my scorecard. Here's what it's about. I would love to talk about this. Again, I'm a real person. I'd like double emphasize that.
Real.
Um, yeah, and I want to give you money. I'm a real person. I want to give you money, and I'm not like the old scam where the dude's like the prince in Nigeria, and if you send me 1,000, then I'll send you 10,000. So like that's not what I'm talking about here. I really want to send you money. I want to pay you to advertise in your brand.
Yeah.
So like look for those types of opportunities, and when you find them, it is a gold mine. When you like, because these scorecard lead magnets work really well when you're advertising on someone else's brand, uh, because people, it's a unique way to help somebody journey through
Hmm.
menopause is like
Hmm.
that. Like we're going to quantify this and gamify it. And so like we got to make sure that the landing page is kind of on point where it's like, okay, let, because when I first created my podcast growth scorecard, I created it with my audience in mind, going, I'm going to give them a tool. They're already my people. But then when
Right.
I started advertising on other people's, I was like, I got to level this up because they have no idea who the hell I am. Like they have
Wow.
no idea who I am, what I'm about, what I do. So I have to add a little bit of that into the landing page when I do the ads. So think about that, and maybe even with the email funnel that peels off of it, do a little introductory thing like, hey, here's who I am, here's what I'm about, here are 3 episodes of my show that I would love for you to start binge listening to as you start working on the scorecard. So with the mindset of infusing those people a little bit into your brand, just in case they come from somebody else's brand. Does that make sense so far?
No, it really does. What about the name of it? Did I kind of put myself in a box? Hot flash free scorecard, because it can help with so many things.
I mean, I I don't know. Like I would let it stick around for a little bit, see if you could get a good reaction. Like in my head, I like the word journey for what you're doing. Like you're guiding them through this journey. Um, it's not just like a one and done, like go eat some broccoli. Now you don't have menopause anymore. Like that's not how this works.
Right.
So like you're, giving them a tool to help them navigate this menopause journey. So maybe it's even as you add the description on the landing page, I
Hmm.
would at least put it in there like a scorecard. This is a tool that's can act like the compass that helps you navigate your menopause journey,
Okay.
and in a more mentally and physically, successful way or whatever. Like kind of
Right.
paint that picture a little bit. So Yeah. So I would look for opportunities to run paid ads. And these usually aren't like I'm paying 40-ish dollars or so for an ad in this newsletter. So they're not going to exactly break the bank, and see what kind of
Yeah.
opt-in rate you get. And then like I said, I'm paying less than $1 per opt-in. I'll pay $40, get 60 or 70 new email subscribers. So, I'm paying 50 to 60, 75 cents per new email subscriber. I'll do that all day, every day. So,
Yeah.
um,
I will tell you that I hadn't had any signups for my opt-ins for quite a while. And as soon as I put scorecard out, it's been slow, but it's been what, 3 weeks. I want
yeah,
magic. But it's actually working. I'm like, all right, this is
yeah,
yet another thing that I've learned from working with you. So it's been
yeah, yeah. And have you done an episode yet where you break it down on your show, like a full on episode?
I haven't. I planned far
Yeah,
ahead. So that
that's
was one
right.
other
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, it's one other thing you told me to start doing solo episodes. So I'm recording them now and they will launch in February. I'm planned out until April.
Yeah. So I think definitely do a full episode where you talk about it. And then after you do that, I would maybe do 4 to 8 weeks where that's the only call to action on your episodes for, 4 to 8 weeks. And that way it's just like scorecard, scorecard, scorecard for, a little bit of a content campaign cycle there. And
And I did do
also,
that. I did that
okay,
for the
perfect.
intro and outro. So
Perfect.
those we went back and plugged those in. It's just not solo episodes.
Yeah. That way you're scooping up your audience that's already, plugged in, and giving them a reason to get on your email list. So that's great.
Yeah.
Social media, like an Instagram story, at least once per week. Do a little. I would do a face to camera. Hey, if you're struggling with blah 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 blah, check out my hot flash free scorecard. Click the link right here. Because now we can put links in Instagram stories. It's a no brainer, and you just link that sucker up. And then I'd also just go into Canva and create a little video image thing that you can just throw up, and once or twice a week, and just have that up in your story for 24 hours, 2 to 3 times a week. And naturally that'll start following people over. You could put it as your link in your bio for a little bit, like that could be a thing. So that's going to kind of create a net. Now we look at, okay, if you are a guest on someone else's podcast, or you speak
Mhm,
at their virtual summit, or you
mhm.
speak at a live event, this is a great call to action to put out there to people. And usually I'm telling people, like when I speak at PodFest here in a couple of days, I'm talking about my scorecard, I'm talking about my coaching style episodes, I'm talking about my podcast. I'm like, if I give them 3 things to do, those are the 3 things that I'm going to put out there. I know that one of them is going to probably resonate, and they'll pop on into my world. So,
I'm happy you
um,
just said that. So in my mind, so I have 2 speaking events coming up, and I'm like, okay, focus on one thing because that's all people can focus on. But you're saying give them 3, and that makes sense because everyone's not going to fit into that one thing.
yeah. And I think strategically, as you're doing your presentation, I'm getting ready to record a whole episode about I'm really getting strategic when I get on that
Mhm,
live stage.
mhm,
And I'm gonna go and speak at PodFest here in a couple of days. And I'm gonna unpack exactly what I did and why I did it. So I approached it uniquely, than I think compared to a lot of people. And so with those 3 calls to action, what I would try to avoid is a final slide that's like, here are all the ways we can connect, and then list the 3 things.
mhm,
What I'd like to see you do is there's some bullet point, there's some focus point that you're talking about where it makes sense to bring up your scorecard. So maybe you have 5 tips, and tip number 3 is something that like it's about accountability, or it's about documentation. And you go, and you know what? I've got an amazing free tool that I want you to get right now, and then have the website or the QR code or whatever right there on the tip 3 slide. Say, here, screenshot this real quick before we move to the next slide. Go and get this. This tool is amazing, blah, 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 blah. So infuse it into the content of your presentation instead of doing the little wrap up slide and going, hey, go get the things. And you could have that at the end also as a reminder.
mhm.
But if you put it into the content, it works a lot better. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
No, perfect sense. Yeah, sure does.
And that way, yeah, it gives them like, you hit their hot button, and then you give them a tool to go get right
Yeah,
then and
yeah,
there.
yeah.
And there's no better feeling, Stephanie, than seeing all those people lift their phone up. As soon as you say that, I'm like, yes, I just put
Woo!
40 people on my email list right there. So yeah, so that's when we cast that net out, and we're kind of fishing and trying to bring back email list subscribers. those are primarily the ways we look at the paid ad opportunities. Of course, you could run like Facebook and Instagram ads. That's, that's a little touch and go sometimes, but I would definitely look at, I guess another way that we could look at when you are advertising on your own show, that's a great time to do podcast player app ads. So we run an ad on Overcast for that same time period. So now we're scooping up podcast listeners that are listening to your show. They're hearing the call to action and they're getting on the email list. So that would be another paid opportunity to kind of springboard off of a podcast player app ad. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because I'm running those now. So you're just saying that while my intro and outro is leading them there, I'm running the Overcast ads at the same time because that's leading into. Okay.
Yep. Right. So it kind of overlaps, but then just leveraging other people's podcasts, other people's virtual stages, other people's live stages, and that's the thing that we use to add value and pull them in. And that's something I'm known for when I speak at events and stuff. People are like, "You gave me actionable steps. It wasn't a whole bunch of theory stuff and a whole bunch of you're Mr. Cool stuff. It's just like, here are 5 things, go do these things and they work." But there's tools that pull off of each point. And I'm giving them episode recommendations and like all this thing. I'm just like, come and play in my freaking world. Here's my sandbox, come play in it. There's plenty of room and it's awesome. Yeah. So just a lot of inviting, and the scorecard is definitely a part of that. And then I would really focus on that first. And then maybe you go to like your mini course and kind of test the waters with that. But I think the scorecard will be the easiest to implement and it'll get the best overall positive reaction. And I think you'll put that 1,000, you'll cross the 1,000 person list with your email sooner than later.
All right. So I have all that set up, and then March 12th, I'm going to launch a challenge. So probably like, I think I started February 27th, or maybe even a week before, whatever that Thursday is, doing the promotion for that. Is that far enough back? I think that gives me like 4 weeks.
Yeah. I like that. I like that as a ramp up. Now, with the challenge, is that scorecard based also, or is that something outside of the scorecard?
It's something outside of the scorecard. Honestly, it's a detox challenge, but it's not marketed as a detox challenge. It's just helping people get their metabolism ready so that they can start to lose weight and have more energy.
Yeah. So I think that's another great way to build your email list, is those live challenges and scoop people up for people that are like, need a little more interaction, maybe they're not a checklist scorecard type of a person, but you say, hey, we're getting a group of people together and we're all doing this thing together. And, those are great relationship builders as well. And I feel like we need a nice blend of interaction based and relationship building based lead magnets, in addition to like volume email list builders, like a scorecard, like a checklist, like an automated mini course. So yeah, I mean, I love the thought with your email list building game plan of having a scorecard focus plus live challenges, or like coaching style episodes or community style episodes, like having that element in there. And all those people are like gold star email list leads, where it's like they want to interact. Like these are the people that will start commenting on your Instagram posts and popping into your world and emailing you questions. And that's like where that real true engagement starts to happen, as you start to interact with these people and you kind of break the ice a little bit and you initiate engagement. That's really going to ramp that whole aspect of your brand up. So that's exciting.
You said something when I mentioned the challenge, you said, is it tied to the scorecard? So in my mind, the scorecard was going to be a part of the challenge, but I didn't even think of the marketing tie. So what made you say that, and what could I do differently in order to leverage both of those?
Well, I definitely would incorporate it if it makes sense.
It does.
And you could do a challenge that is scorecard based only. Like you could just be like, all right, this is a 28-day challenge or a 21-day challenge, and we are just going to do the scorecard, and we're all going to share our, do a live update and screenshot and share our scorecards every other day or every day, or, whatever. Maybe you have a prompt inside of a Facebook group for each day of the 28 days or whatever. And every third day is like screenshot and share your scorecard, screenshot and share your scorecard. It's like an accountability thing, or maybe it's a week-long thing, So yeah, it could be that simple. I've done that before.
Would you coach during that? Would you like, and day 5, we're going to all get together live kind of thing?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. I mean, I think if this with like reporting based challenges, I probably
Mhm.
wouldn't make it like a 28-day thing. I would make it like 7 to 10.
Okay.
Um, so you're gonna get some fatigue there.
Yeah.
But the people that are really like all on it will take it the rest of the way. Like they'll just do it, you know.
Yeah.
People like you and I, like we get rolling, like, okay, I have to check all the boxes. All the boxes must be checked
Right.
in my brain.
I
Um,
know. So
but not
bad.
everybody's like that. But you can power them through 7 to 10 days, and they're
Okay.
gonna maybe you do a kickoff video coaching day to answer questions about using the scorecard. You know, some people are like, well, if I do this, how many points is that again? Or why do I get points for this and not that? You know,
Mhm.
and then pop in maybe day 3 and kind of like pep them up again. It's kind of like an energizer session. And then maybe day 5, you pull on a few people for some live coaching. Like, okay, let's look at your scorecard. Let's look at how we can get you some more points on the second half of this challenge or whatever. And just kind of do every other day-ish sort of a thing. And then at the end, you know, I'd ramp into some sort of an offer or at least a discovery call, you know, like, and maybe even make it like, okay, if you scored above this many points in the last 7 days or 10 days, then you have momentum. And what I'm good at is taking people from that momentum phase into blah, blah, blah phase, or like kind of like paint the picture of how you can help that person. Now, if you're under that, you really need accountability. I've got a 2-week accountability jumpstart package that's blah, 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 you know, kind of like have both sides of the coin because they either hit the goal or they didn't hit the goal. They either succeeded or they kind of crashed and burned. And you can address both of those situations. You can take the person that's in momentum and going, you are ready for this. This is the next level thing. The person that crashed and burned, that's kind of in their head about it, you need to get in there and work with them on that stuff. And here's the offer for that. So like I see that type of a situation popping up and you promoting a discovery call session or whatever, and then you could go into offer mode. So that's what I would do personally.
No, that's really good. That's really good.
How do you feel about the length? I mean, do you feel like 7 to 10 days is like, does that make sense?
About all I can handle personally
Yeah.
as well. So yeah,
Yeah.
28 days for me is like, even I'm doing your scorecard, but honestly, I'm doing it in my mind. So
Yeah.
today I'm like, okay, I had 3 interviews today and blah, 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 kind of walking through it.
Yeah.
And I'm towards the end. So I think, yeah, 7 to 10 days is better
Yeah.
than 28.
So if you do 10 and you start on a Monday, yeah, I don't like ending on a weekend. So that way you have that next Monday, Tuesday,
Yeah.
Wednesday for day 8, 9, 10, and you're able to kind of recharge, maybe do some more hot seat sessions and kind of go into, you know, the next phase of things from there. So
Yeah,
I think that'll work good.
I like that. So I'm gonna
That
have to
will
plan
work
that for
good.
you too. Yeah, love that. Love that.
Cool. All right. Well, let's do a brand shout out here, Stephanie. Let people know that are listening in where they can go and interact with you and get plugged into everything you've got cooking.
Yeah, so you can head over to hellohotflash.com and you can check out the scorecard. You can check out episodes to the podcast there, and then find out a little bit more about me and how I help midlife women control the midlife change.
Amazing. Great branding, great call to action. I'm a big fan of my friend Stephanie here. You guys need to go and support her show, and go and check out her scorecard. So with that, Pod Pals, if you want to do a podcast audit, the schedule for 2024 is rapidly filling up. Hop on over to the website, www.podcastingbusiness.school. Click on the freebie button and get on my calendar. And you can be just like my Pod Pal Stephanie here, sitting in the hot seat, building your brand, building your online podcasting empire. So Pod Pals, I'm really excited to have you on the show. With that, I will send you off into the world wishing you health, happiness, and many downloads. We will see you next time.